Can you hear us, Irod?
Irod.
Could you hear me?
There you
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Dom. Thank you, Mr. Moss. I have a question. Because I've been involved for quite some time, I have a planner where I have all the programs like the EAC, the ESS, and the International Commodity House. I just noticed because I was looking at my planner, and it must have been updated because I'm busy doing some other things. I noticed that you have an update on the ESS that was dated on the 20 this year, the 20, I think it was January or something. So my question is that those that have been involved, like I have, and have all the planners, I have a planner with everything and binders. So I just want to inform everybody else you have to upgrade what has been changed, and I didn't know it until just today on the ESS. Another thing, when it comes to strategizing with a team, I'm trying to put a team together. That's why I've been involved in so many different things. I have somebody that does contracts. I have somebody that's going to be involved with the permission of Ron to work with the International Commodity Housing Clearance. I already have some of that. But the idea is, it's just plan, and don't listen to whoever else saying nonsense unless you get it from Ron, because you're going to be so confused with everybody else giving you information that is not actual information that's coming from source. And I believe, and I not believe, I know Ron is source. So I'm happy that I got on today and I got to now reprint 22 pages. What is it, 22 pages of the ESS. So I thank you, Ron, for bringing this up and re-educating me again to have to do 22 pages of finishing my binder up. So Ron,
you're certainly welcome, Irod. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just want to raise my hand because I want other people that are involved like me have planners. They have to change it because you have different wording, So yeah, thank you. God bless you, so Ron. I hope you're feeling better than I am.
Thank you, Irod. Yeah, I hope so, my friend.
God bless you all. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye.
Hi, Ron. We have another question from Nick. Nick, your mic is free. Can you hear us? Hello, Nick. Your mic is open. Okay, Nick, are you able to talk? Or if you can't, if you put your question.
Sorry. Hi, everyone.
Hello, Nick.
It's a bit. Hi, Ron. It's a bit of a broad question about really impact and the speed with which different areas may develop. So, for the impact on commodities, the impact on certain companies and groups being able to grow far bigger than their competition and having sort of negative effect on the competition. And the final thought was also funding or companies, for instance, that make like solar panels and wind farms and stuff like that are really going in the wrong direction. And so are we going to be informed about the right things to encourage more production and steering companies away from actually the wrong, they're traveling in the wrong direction, that, the solar panels, the poison that they put in the ground once they've been destroyed is far worse than nuclear waste, and people don't understand that. And it's about directors being able to have advice on future technologies and not to be funding the wrong ones and not to be funding companies that don't have the normal barriers of growth that is to do with they can only borrow so much, they can only produce so much because the size of their factories, etc. And if we encourage these people maybe to grow too quickly, we might not only flood the market, but the impact that we might do on the environment. And I just wondered whether you had any thoughts on all those points.
Well, Nick, I do have some thoughts on that. Um, the problems we have right now is that there is a war between good and evil. It's being fought at a different level than we have ever seen or ever heard about. And the reason that I know about this is because in my conversations, now I have a relationship with the Alliance and I tell them what I want. And then they tell me why I can't have it right now. And a lot of that has to do with this war that's going on. It's a war between good and evil, and there's a lot of evil. Now, I'm going to say this out loud, and I hope you understand, and everybody else. Karma has to be balanced. An individual can cancel their karma, I guess, by asking Jesus to do that. But there is so much bad in the world right now, bad karma, that it's producing the ability on the balance has to be balanced. On the other side is where we're going because of the bad stuff that's happened to us. We should have evolved into becoming and knowing and fully aware that we are creators, children of God, creators. We never knew that. We have no idea really about that, except now we're finding out that we're children of God and we are creators. How many people believe that? I don't know. But that's what's coming. It's the balancing of karma. And because now it has to be as bad as it is, because it's going to get as good as it can get. That's the balancing of karma from my understanding. Now, it's not that karma is something that's all inclusive. No, it's on an individual basis. And we're going through this stuff now because our personal karma has to be balanced. They're doing this to us. They're causing a lot of destruction and pain and sorrow and agony. They're going to have to suffer for that. That's why they're not coming with us when we go up into the higher degrees. So there's something that's working its way through, Nick. And let's allow a transition. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking how we're going to transition. What's the first step? What's the next step? What's the first step for each individual? And what is the next step after that? And how can we combine together and create a better collusion or solidification of our concepts and our understanding? I talk about love one society, and I'm hoping that people will really get in and learn what's going on because that's important. But I think there's a lot of people that don't really understand it. They will when they try to implement it. They'll find out what we've been talking about all this time. There's a transition. And each one of us will have to make that adjustment in our lives. I don't like to be called a leader.
Could I ask one more little question? Do you think Love
Sure
One
can.
Industry? Do you think Love One Industries will give directors guidelines on new industries to take an interest in, or to guide other manufacturers to take turn in direction? You know, because I don't think everyone's getting the same information, and there's lots of information out there that people don't know. And I wonder whether Love One Industries would take a role in trying to halt, for instance, the production of petrol cars because we're going in this direction, just as an example.
Well, everybody gets a chance to be who they are. Now, if I were to say, Alliance, please tell us what we should not get involved with, and they won't say anything. It's none of my business. On a personal basis, it's none of my business what other people do with their domain, their way of thinking. Now, if you're against gas cars, that's your opinion. A lot of people don't agree with you,
I'm not.
and it doesn't matter one way or the other. Things will change and get ourselves aligned with the heavens, and things will go forth the way they're supposed to. I'm sick and tired, sick of eating lousy food that's not nutritious. That's all going away. But there's some people who say, well, the food's good for me. It's good. And then they have all kinds of problems over their, especially in their sunset years of their lives. Where's that? Why don't we get the good stuff? The cabal's got it all planted in the ground or planted in the tunnels. Put it down there so that when it all ends on the surface of the earth, that they have a place to go and they'll eat for 150 years. But it'll be probably 300 or whatever because of they've got a lot of people. They don't have as many people as they're supposed to have. But I don't know. These are things that my mind doesn't go on because I've got a lot of stuff to worry about or concern myself about and make decisions about in how to implement Love One Society. But the way will be shown for us on an individual basis. Your guidance system is the one that will help you to make the right decisions for everybody.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you.
So I hope that helps, Nick. Thank you for your questions.
Okay, Ron, we are going to go to some of the questions that came in from chat. The first one is from Jerry in Arizona. He was wondering if we'll have a chance to get involved with Ron's LWI. And in his area, they're getting a lot of warehouses being built that are still empty. He says he's going to purchase several for using for different products. He'd like to know if that's something that LWI can utilize, all the empty warehouses everywhere.
Well, LWI won't be the one involved in that. What we're trying to do is figure out a listing system so that everybody can go by either zip code or state or city or whatever, a list of properties in that location that are for sale. That has to do with the private home funding project, not the LWI. So an individual might want to be getting involved in that to have something to supply to people who want homes when they now will get a chance to finance a home for themselves through our PFSH, through our PHF program, private home funding. So don't confuse the two.
Actually, I think he was referring to all the empty warehouses in everyone's area. Would that be something that LWI could acquire or benefit from for the ICCH program? So they would have room for all of the products and possibly produce.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, that's how his question was referred to or stated.
Oh, I see.
Directed.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a personal situation. Warehouses, we'll buy a lot of warehouses at the appropriate time or build them. I don't know that there's a lot of warehouses just sitting empty the size that we would need. it's going to be determined when we open up Love One Society and Love One Industries, when we get our funds. It's the implementation of the programs that are going to tell us where to go. And that's on a moment to moment basis, on an individual basis, managing directors or CAC directors. Uh, I'm envisioning the possibility of having a list of those kinds of places that could be available to us. But see, Love One Industries, we have to depend on the other people, on our managing directors, to give us those kinds of information. So if there's some things out there that you'd like to, at the appropriate time, then that's because warehouses are dynamic. They can be bought and sold very quickly. But we don't know. Just because they've been around a long time doesn't mean that the right person's coming by yet. So when we have our money, then we can talk about things. Money talks. We speak loud with the money that we're getting. So, uh, but it is a huge. The International Commodity Clearinghouses is huge, really huge. So we'll see how it goes. And of course,
Thank
transition is the thing.
Okay, thank you so much for that answer. The next question is about quality over quantity. This member would like to know if instead of looking at just the bottom line and that we need X amount to make this much money, he would like to know if LWI is going to focus on quality instead and make that first priority.
Why would we not include that? That's a question that I'm asking. Are we going to just be slipshod in stuff that we support? There has to be some standards involved in what we're going to do. And this is the implementation. This is the transition to where we're going. We'll make the best decisions we can at the time that decision needs to be made. And so it sounds like you've got it in your mind, whoever answered the question, that you want things on a very high level. Well, who doesn't? So of course that's going to take place. That's what I'm saying. If you're building cars, I want the best standard that they can be, with all of the improvements and all of the safety devices and things that make driving safe for us again. I'm thinking, let's get rid of any car over 5 years and use it as a trade in for brand new ones. Trade in for the brand new ones. Not necessarily dollar for dollar, but trade in the old ones. And let's get in everybody driving at least more than 5 years old or less than 5 years old. It's just a thought that I have in my mind. That's what I'd like to see. So we're not driving clunkers around. People are saying electric cars. Why don't right now you can do fuel cells, hydrogen fuel cells, and you can sell hydrogen, and the fuel cells will consume the hydrogen and make electricity. Well, that would take us to set up a whole system of hydrogen producing, um, like gas stations. It's available. And what's the byproduct? It's water. What comes out is water and fuel or energy. There's a lot of technology out there that we haven't really implemented, but keep in mind, it's going to be free energy that will take the place of everything that we're doing now. Is it going to be done overnight? I don't think it will. It'll take some time. free energy devices is a really good business to get into because every house will need a home, or every home will need one of these devices so that they can plug into that or start using that as their source of power. Free energy. There's a lot of stuff that's coming. Let's be flexible in what we think is right. Because as things are now, we don't have all of the information we need. Let's just allow ourselves to be flexible, rigid in our desires to do good and be in service to mankind, but be flexible on how we do it. Let's go on to the next question.
Thank you, Ron. The next question is, it states in the ESS action plan, 20 people and over, under number 4, it stated that 20 employees or more will contract with LWI instead of the local BOAA. I assume we as MDs can up that number to say 50 employees before contracting to LWI.
That is a good question. And I'm not going to tell you what you can do and what you can't do. But if you're going to buy everything that they produce, it doesn't matter how many employees they have. If we're going to buy everything that they produce, then that needs to be under their auspices of Loved One Industries. So that the number of employees does not matter. If you're going to want to sign a contract to purchase everything they've got and put it into the distribution system ourselves, then it has to come under Loved One Industries. And that is the criteria to use, whether it's, if you're going to buy everything from, you got an automobile repairs place. And so you were wanting to keep that business going. Doesn't matter how many employees they've got, but if you're going to buy what they produce, all of it at a certain price, and then become part of the distribution system at the prices that we want to. I'd like to see the prices of things come down 5 or 10% a year. Who are we helping? We're helping the consumers. Are we taking anything away from anybody else? No, we're not. We're buying everything they got profit in it. See, a restaurant we're not going to buy everything they can produce because it's a consumable item. So I guess the criteria is, if we're going to buy everything from them, then it has to be under LWI. And if it's not, then you can have 20 or 30 or 50 employees if you're not buying everything. Does that help? I hope so.
Thank you, Ron. Let's see, one more question here. This is from Julie about an umbrella bond. Does umbrella bond mean all WS managing directors are going to have a worldwide bond that we put our funds into? Or does each MD have an umbrella bond for all the businesses under their jurisdiction?
The second is correct. Loved One Society will have the umbrella bond. But the things that you do as a managing director and the contracts that you engage in, you need to have come under your local bond, the one that you set up, the one that the managing director sets up. And I said, you're not going to use all that you're going to get because it's too much. And so you put that in a bond and start putting everything in there that you don't use, and it'll build up really fast. And that's where if you have a contract with somebody and you want to do the LWI, um, then you're the one that's doing, if you're signed up with Loved Ones Industry, then you will be doing, making contracts, or your people will be making contracts, but you're bonding it. But Loved One Society has an overall bond for all of our managing directors for what they do. A lot of zeros there, but that's the way it's going to be. And the Alliance loves that.
And Dom has one more question for you, Ron.
Okay.
Hey, Ron, this is from a member, and it's an interesting question. The member was asking in relationship to Love One Industries and our ESS action plan offering healthcare um, and possibly other benefits as well. The question the member had was the fact that in the SARA JASARA, it also states that it will cover healthcare costs. And so the question was, is there any similarity to what NESARA JASARS is doing to what LWS is doing? It seems almost like it's coming from the same pot, if that makes sense. Do you have any comments on that?
Well, yeah, I'd like them to reread the Nasara and Jasara, because I've never seen anything written about Nasara that includes healthcare. So if they've got a question that they're asking from a reliable source, I'd like them to email me and let me know about it, Don.
Okay. Is it safe to assume that Love One Society and Love One Industries might be the source for NESARA JASARA and healthcare costs? Will we be covering those?
For those who sign up as beneficiaries or who have a contract with us for employee agreements, yes.
Okay.
Now,
Very good.
if they're not under employee agreements, then we're over here. And if they want to be part of our program and what we're trying to accomplish, then eventually it might get to the place where they work. So they might be under employee agreements from that particular location or for that company. And we will provide that. Why can we do that? We're going through the light wave. Our bodies will be perfected. Gosh, every time I remember that, it puts things into its proper perspective. If we disregard this and don't plan on it happening, then we may be missing the boat. We may not make it through. But let's just plan on it happening. Doubt not, fear not, but be believing in all things shall work out for the best good of those who love God. Don't doubt it. Just let it be true. Just let it be true. Embrace it. Make it true.
Well,
If
Ron,
there's
we
a
are right
problem,
at the end. We are right at the end here. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I was going to say it's a promise. It's a blessing for us. So let's just do it. And then if there's a problem, our inner guidance system will help us. That's what it's for. And that's where the promise really is our guidance system will help us in any decision we make that's not really right or beneficial for us. It'll get us to the point where we get to the right place at the right time for the right reason. That's what inner guidance will do for us. And that's why Love One Society members are showing up. That's what I believe. Thank you,
Very
Don.
good. Thank you so much, Ron. And it's perfect because this is the end of our discussion for tonight. And we'll go ahead and come back next week and finish up on the ESS program a little more with the specifics of how it works. Ron, I want to thank you as always. Thank the members, Mr. and Mrs. Mouse. Thank you. Some great questions tonight, some great information. Very exciting program here. Do you have any final words? Any final thoughts?
Well, I appreciate Dom. I want everybody to know how thorough you are and how you plan things and do things. Um, it's a privilege for me to be associated with you and your expertise in so many different areas. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the things that you do for us. And I'm sure that Mr. and Mrs. Mouse will concur in in showing you that kind of gratitude and appreciation. So
Absolutely. We
that's
concur.
that that'll be my ending for today. We've had a
Wow.
good day. It's been good
Nice little
questions.
curveball there, but appreciate that so much. It's truly my honor. And Mr. and Mrs. Mouse, you guys have a lot of contribution here. And to the members, keep learning.
Yes, for
What
sure.
Ron has here is just amazing. Nobody else is talking about this. So just keep learning as best you can. And we'll be back next week to learn some more. And until then, thank you very much, Ron. If you'd like to raise your hand and say goodnight to Ron, do so now. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.
Love
Good night,
you all.
everyone.
Good night, family.
Thank
See
you,
you next
Ron. Thank
week.
you, everyone,
Bye,
for all
Ron
your
and
energy
Dom.
and love.